ADHD, or Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, what is it, what causes it, and how does it affect a child's life? Well, today we're going to go over all of this and bust some of the common myths. So tell me, Betty, first of all, what is ADHD?
Well, ADHD is a really common disorder. Its main symptoms are inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity, but it's a lot more than that. It's a disorder that presents in childhood, but can persist up till adulthood, and it's quite common. So that's 1 in 20 children in Australia will have symptoms of ADHD. It's a well-recognized condition and has been studied extensively and was recognized as early as the early 1800s, but has been called many names throughout the years until we finally ended up with our present term, which is ADHD, which stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Now, not all children will have all of the symptoms of this disorder. Some people are predominantly hyperactive, some people are predominantly inattentive, and some people will have the combined type.
Interesting. So what are the good things then? Let's start with the good things about a child with ADHD, because it's not all bad. Sometimes you go, oh, that child's got ADHD, and it's looked at a negative, whereas it can be a really positive thing.
And that's so true, because that's one of the reasons why I love my job. I get to meet these really, really interesting young people who have so many good things about them. One of the things that we know about ADHD, it is associated with people who are very creative and who are very intuitive and who are also full of energy. These are children who love the outdoors, who are great at outside activities where they can burn off all that energy. It's also associated with people who have lots of good sense of humor, and they have lots of ideas where they have thinking about the box, outside the box, and being able to solve problems in novel situations. So there's lots of creative innovators and entrepreneurs who are famous people with ADHDs. It's one of those conditions where, although it comes with lots of differences and challenges, it comes with lots of good things as well.
I love it. Yeah. So true. And there's actually a lot of people coming out saying they've got ADHD that are famous actors and all that sort of thing now, which is great. So what are some myths then about ADHD?
Well, some of the myths are things that we as pediatricians are very keen to challenge. The ADHD isn't a real disorder, and it's a medical disorder. It's a neurodevelopmental condition. It's the way children's brains are made, and their brains are made to process information differently, and the way that they deal with certain challenges is different from other people. It's not about bad parenting, and I think that's a really big myth that we need to correct. Parenting can change the way a child will face those challenges, but it's not about bad parenting. It's not about children just being naughty or wanting to get at you or being difficult. It's because these children have real differences in the way they process information, and they have real struggles in being able to focus on a task and finish a task and complete, and they want to achieve the same as well as all other children their age, but they find it really hard, really tricky.
Yeah, because it can go from one extreme to the other. Like there's things that they can really, really concentrate on, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing about ADHD. That was one of the advantages that I forgot to mention. It's called hyperfocus, and it's been really well studied. These are children who, for some parents, it may be a negative rather than a positive, because they can play on video games or computer games for hours. And when they are challenged and things are being able to stimulate them, they find that really interesting, and they can focus on that for a big length of time. They're not so good at focusing on tasks that are mundane or that they find boring, and that's where they need a little bit more support.
So what are the challenging things then about a child with ADHD?
So some of the challenges are the inability to stay on task. They're easily distractible, so they can be distracted by noises or other things that children are doing in the classroom. They're easily poorly or disorganized really, and what happens is that they'll lose some of their school supplies or books, or forget to hand in assignments, or forget to do things. They tend to have difficulty with instructions unless they're broken down into smaller pieces. So unless you break things down into smaller chunks, they'll tend to forget what you ask them. And sometimes this can present with the morning routine being a nightmare, because if you send them to do 4 different things at a time, it's unlikely that they're going to do all of them, and they may come back with maybe one half done.
Yeah, or not done at all.
Or not done at all. Yeah.
So what's some advice then for parents watching that are worried that their child might have ADHD?
Well, firstly, it's seek help, and seek help early. If you have concerns about your child, and don't let other people try and fob off your concerns. You can always raise your concerns, raise them with your GP, and ask for a referral to a pediatrician. Also realize that these children face challenges that may not all be due to ADHD. It's a common disorder that's associated with other mental health disorders. So sometimes there may be other disorders such as learning disorders or anxiety or conduct disorders that are associated with ADHD that may be the main problem.
And you've got a book that you bought as well that you recommend reading.
Yes, because I can't talk about ADHD in the small amount of time, I just wanted to share this. I think this is a brilliant resource. And if you only read the first 2 chapters, which is what I would advise most parents to read, that will give you lots of insight about some of the challenges that these children face and some of the things that you can do to help. They do need your support, and they need your love and your understanding. I think that's the most important thing to realize. So it's called ADHD, Kids in the Syndrome Mix of ADHD, Learning Disability, Autism Spectrum, Tourette's, Anxiety, and more. And it's a one-stop guide for parents, teachers, and other professionals.
Wow, what a great book. So as you can see, ADHD is a common disorder, but unfortunately there's a lot of myths surrounding it as well. So don't be fooled to think it's all bad. So if you have any concerns or questions, or if you suspect that your child may have ADHD, then you need to speak to a paediatrician and get that referral from a doctor to do so. So the wonderful team at Townsville Paediatrics are always happy to help. So just ask for your doctor to refer you to them, and they can help you with that, definitely.